brothers and sisters of the world. It is a great honor for me to talk about global problems of women in front of this distinguished assembly. First of all, I would like to offer my profound gratitude to the government and people of our host country, the People's Republic of China. I've had a privilege of visiting China on two previous occasions, and I am a great admirer of the wisdom and culture of this great nation that I have visited. This is beyond my imagination. The most glorious time in the history of the world that at this time we are so much aware of the problems of women. Women as a whole have definitely suffered over the ages, as the previous lady has told you, because we have not realized that their importance is, what their importance is and what their proper role is in human society. Society itself, which is her creation, tries to control or put down the woman. In the East, we can say that due to fundamentalist influence, women have been under great pressure, and their morality is based on fear rather than freedom. In the West, they have fought for their freedom, but what they have attained is studiously. The women in the West have freedom to abandon all social and moral values. Thus, in the East, we can say that most of the women are timid, oppressed, and cannot express themselves, while in the West, we find most of the women are reduced to a sex symbol. They are free to expose their body, their anxiety is to appear in fashion advertisements, and very cheap popularity. Most of them accepted this position because otherwise they would not have survived in the chaotic world of the West. What most of the women in the East regard as very humiliating and degrading is regarded as something very glorified in the West. I've seen both the worlds very deeply, and I feel that unless and until we bring a new culture by which women from the East and West can both rise in their own esteem and express themselves in such a way that they create high moral standards for their society. Women neither in the East nor in the West will rise to their full stature of feminine speciality. The speciality is that if women are respected for their womanhood, understanding what they are capable of and how they can empower themselves, with all the education needed, all the security will be provided to them, and they will provide security to the society. All the fundamentalists who talk of religion expect women to be absolutely moral, and the men can do whatever they like. I think we have to educate men more than women. Because the idea of war comes also only from the men beginning. I must admit, it is not difficult to collect money for poor women in the developing countries and help them to get out of their poverty. But unfortunately, my knowledge is that the money we are collecting may not reach the poor women, but may end up into the pockets of the corrupt ministers, bureaucrats, and other people in charge, and ultimately it will end up in the Swiss bank. I do not want to criticize any real organization because I know they are very honest in their purpose. But they must be made aware of what is happening under the table. We in India have two very big states called Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, which are very much helped by UNICEF as well as the World Health Organization. UNICEF started a project called Angan, meaning courtyard, where the children were to be educated and brought up in a proper shape. This project is not working at all for the children, but all the money goes into the pockets of all the corrupt people who are in charge of that project, and the children do not even get 2% of what is being said for them. Same with the World Health Organization, which is sending medicines and equipment to India. These medicines are sold in the market and are completely used by the recipients for their own gains. The same happens to WHO equipment, so the poor people never get any benefit and they remain all the time helpless. All this money is called dirty money, but goes to the clean Swiss bank. A large part of the loans which the World Bank gives to the developing countries is also cycled back to the personal accounts of the corrupt officials maintained in Swiss banks. Thus, all these developing countries are indebted to the World Bank but have no money. The money is in the Swiss bank. So I would request the UN to take this up with the Swiss bank and request them to return all such money which has been cycled to the very corrupt people and give this money to the UN so that the UN can utilize it for the education of women and other purposes as well as for distributing to people under very effective vigilance. One has to have a very good network of people, especially women, who are involved and who are honest, compassionate, and who would like to make the best out of this money, helping the women who have to achieve social equality. The main work of women here is to create a good society that would enjoy peace better. Immorality, corruption, and violence are the two horrible monsters which are eating up our society. I would blame the mothers of these for corrupt and immoral persons because they fail in their duty as mothers in their child. The loving training of the mother is the first and most effective influence in shaping the children into beautiful students. Mothers who never try to guide with great concern and love, or the wives of the daughters who are falling into the fear of the men or of the destructive culture, have not done their duty as integral members of the family to strengthen the moral fiber of the men. It is important also to see how children are treated in these two cultures of East and West. What we see in the East is that the children who listen to their mothers, if they are not under fundamentalist culture, this culture relegates women to the level of an inferior human being, fit to be dominated by men and children. In the West, also the same thing happens. Children don't respect their mothers. Neither do they listen to them. I feel this is because generally the Western women spend more time looking after their body and looks than on looking after and loving their children. The gap between the mother and children weakens and breaks. It is for this reason that many children become street urchins and wild. Fortunately, there are still many families in the East and some in the West who deeply defy the corruptive influence of today and look after their children and bring them up. But still I must say that the children in the East are not that much doing as they are in the West. The reason also is that in the East there are many people who have not taken to fundamentalist culture or to the Western culture and have a very good society and produce children who are exceptionally good, though this number may not be very great. But whatever culture they have inherited since long traditionally is very much ingrained in them, and to them the moral value system is the highest, more than money or power. The West is full of problems. Though they have money, they don't have peace within themselves. The truth is that women are the potential power of every civilization and everything. It is evident that women are the creators and the preservers of the entire humankind. This is the role which the Almighty God has given assigned to them. Seeds cannot create anything by themselves. It is the Mother Earth which provides the flowers and the fruits and other bounties. Similarly, it is the women who create the child, who nurtures the baby, and eventually brings up the citizen of tomorrow. Women must therefore rank with Mother Earth as the edifice of the entire humanity. Unfortunately, men have utilized muscle power to gain a dominating position over women. They have not recognized that women are complementary and equal, but not similar partners in, in human endeavors. A society that does recognize this fundamental truth and does not give to women their rightful role is not a civilized society. In my own country, there is a saying in Sanskrit, which means that where the women are respected and respectable, there resides the gods of our well-being. So it is for us at this moment to understand the value of this great power that is given to us by our Creator. But what do we find, whether in the East or the West? Women have not been able to give a full manifestation of their graces. I am not suggesting at all that the only role of women in human society is that of the mother. the procreator and the preserver of children, or that of a wife or a sister. Women have a full right to participate as equal partners in every aspect of life: social, cultural, educational, political, economical, administrative, and the rest. In order to prepare themselves for this all-pervading role, they must have the right to education in all branches of life. But if they are mothers, they have a great responsibility towards their children as well as their society. Men are responsible for politics and economics of the country, but women are responsible for the society. Women can also support men. They can make leading part, of course, in any position. But it is very important that they should not forget they are women who have to manifest deep motherly concern and love. If they become manly and aggressive, the balance of the society cannot be maintained. At the same time, I must admit that while we ask for the rights of women, we must also stress the fundamental duties of women to the human society. If the women in the West of those who are educated in the West, also some others are educated, have gone to the other extreme when they are taking to political, economical, or administrative to compete with men. They have become much too selfish, self-centered, and ambitious. They have no more than soothing, pleasing qualities which can bring peace and balance. On the contrary, they become dominating, pleasure-seeking individuals. They are far more worried about their physical attraction than about having a pleasing, sweet, and dignified personality. They give in to their baser self much faster than men, wittingly or unwittingly. All this leads to chaotic societies, and children go off into street urchins preparing for wars. What we need is a balance between the two extremes. We need women as equal but not similar partners with men, but with a subtle understanding of the nature of men and how to bring them into the center with their inner balance. We need balanced women in order to have a balanced human race with peace within itself. You might say, oh, this is excellent in thought, but how do we achieve this state of balance? How do we stem the tide of diseases, corruption, immorality, immaturity, and violence? How do we end the present state of conflict and confusion? How do we bring about peace within every mind and heart? I very humbly submit that there is an answer to these questions. There is a new way. If you permit, should I say the president of the ministry?
Yeah, if you could just help them, because you have 3 more minutes. Okay, you have 3 more minutes.
Whatever I am going to tell you now is not to be taken for granted. You should, of course, have your minds open at times and treat whatever I am saying as a hypothesis. If this hypothesis can be proved, then you have to accept it as honest person, as absolute truth, because it is for your benevolence. It is for the benevolence of your family. It is for the benevolence of your country and for the benevolence of the whole world. I am here to tell you about the last breakthrough of our evolution. This breakthrough of our evolution is in our awareness, has to happen in this modern time, and has been moreover recorded in the writings of many scholars. These are the times called as the decadent times, last called by great Saint Vyasa, who has written the Gita. And it is the decadence of humanity that we see around in every way possible. And unless and until we improve that, wars cannot be avoided. Now, I would like to tell you the secret knowledge of our inner being, which was known in India thousands of years back. For our evolution and spiritual ascent, there is a residual power within us, which is located in the triangular bone at the base of our spine. This residual power is known as Kundalini. Though the knowledge of this power was available thousands of years back in India, the awakening of the Kundalini was done traditionally on an individual basis only. One guru would give awakening to one disciple. As a result of that awakening, what happens is that you achieve your self-realization, yourself. Secondly, when this power is awakened, it rises and passes to 637 energy centers in your body, nourishing them and integrating. Ultimately, this power breaks through the fontanelle bone area, called as the talu or the brahmarandha, and connects you to the all-pervading power of divine love, which is described in the Bible also as the cool breeze of the Holy Ghost, also in the Quran as Ruh, and also in the Indian scriptures as Param Chaitanya. Patanjali has called it as Ritambhara. Whatever the name, this is a power which is all-pervading, which does all the subtle works of living process of evolution. The existence of this all-pervading energy is not felt before realization, but after self-realization, you can feel it on your fingertips or at the center of your palm or about the concentrating bone. Moreover, this process has to be spontaneous. Sah means it and Jah means what. That means the right to get this union with the all-pervading power of divine love is the birthright of every human. Our mental energies are limited. Our limited mental energy, which is linear in movement and has no sustenance of reality, reaches a point and stops. From there it boomerangs. And all the mentally linear movement comes back to us as a punishment system. So now we need more energy, higher energy, deeper energy, and for that, this happening has to take place if you don't want to have another war. I must say that in the West, I have met many people who are true seekers of truth and are fed up of artificiality of the Western life. Also, they didn't know what they were seeking sometimes, and they have made lots of mistakes. They have gone to false gurus who have taken lots of money, and the people have become bankrupt and mentally and physically handicapped. The one thing you must know that the awakening of the Kundalini and thus achieving self-realization is a living process of evolution for which we cannot pay anything. It is like putting a seed in the Mother Earth to sprout because Mother Earth has the power to sprout. It shows in the same way we have this genuinity power in the triangular bow with the Greeks called as segment. This is a 3.5 point energy. It shows that the Greeks knew that this was a sacred bone and hence they gave the same name Sigma. Actually, in some people you can see this triangular bone pulsating and the Kundalini very slowly rising. But there are many who have got self-realization. Now this Sahaja Yoga is working in 65 nations. And they have all become extremely useful to each other. In their hearts they are integrated and they have become extremely loving and compassionate. I'm sorry I will not give you more, but the time is over, so I hope you don't mind. Thank you.